During the E3 of 2015, Square Enix shocked the world with the long-awaited remake of Final Fantasy VII. It was an exciting moment for everyone, but I was actually more excited for the announcement of a sequel to Nier, one of my all-time favorite games. With Nier Automata set to drop in 2017, I'd like to look at one of the most compelling and complex characters in the first game. Kaine, the foul-mouthed outcast.
Now pull your head out of your goddamn ass and start fucking helping us!
So, I know we're probably past the spoiler warranty on a 2010 game, but I'd still encourage anyone to play Nier who hasn't already. And the plot twist is a huge part of the experience, so for safety's sake, we're just gonna sound the alarm. Before I talk about Kaine, I want to talk briefly about the overarching themes of Nier, because these themes are also present in Kaine's design. Everything about Nier is centered on the concepts of contrast and duality. It's why the core colors of the game are black and white. The tagline on the back of the North American box art says, "Nothing is as it seems," and I don't think they could have picked a better phrase to summarize how subtly and brilliantly these themes are expressed. Nier is set in a bleak, post-apocalyptic world where humanity struggles to survive against savage eldritch monsters called Shades, and follows the journey of one father to save his daughter from a disease called the Black Scrawl. The game as a whole is meant to be a grim reflection of traditional JRPG tropes. The game begins with the end of the world. The ancient ruins you explore are really just remnants of modern civilization. Your main hero is a dogged old man instead of a handsome young boy, unless you played Replicant. Your brilliant child mage is actually a bizarre lab monster, and your graceful heroine is a shit-talking schizophrenic.
God damn it! This shit's starting to piss me off!
Kaine is a vagrant warrior who lives on the outskirts of a dismal town called the Eyrie. Hot-tempered and violent, her elegant appearance is immediately offset by her volatile attitude and her love of excessive profanity. Her backstory is a history of pain and tragedy, having been hated and reviled all her life by the people of the Eyrie because she was born a hermaphrodite. Growing up, she was cared for by her foul-mouthed grandmother, whom she picked up her speech habits from. One day, for no reason at all, her home is attacked by a giant shade who kills her grandmother and rips Kaine apart, leaving her to die. Before clocking out for good, Kaine hears the voice of a different shade named Tyron, who offers to restore her body and bring her back to life, on the condition that Tyron inhabits the body as well, and must be sustained through violence and murder. Kaine accepts Tyron's terms and sets out on a quest of revenge against the monster who took her grandmother away. Even putting aside her personality and attitude, her visual design embraces that concept of contrast and duality. The centerpiece of her costume is a revealing blue silk negligee to explicitly pronounce her feminine image, but close to half of her body is wrapped in bandages. These bandaged limbs are actually the limbs she lost to the giant shade, having been replaced by Tyron. Obviously, she doesn't want people knowing that she's a half-human, half-shade mutant or thinking that she has the Black Scrawl, hence the bandages. This creates the juxtaposition of one half of her body that Kaine is obviously not afraid to show off, and one half that she must keep concealed. This is a two-part statement. The first is a show of Kaine's perseverance, that she'll still wear a lacy blue dress even if she is broken and imperfect. This is reminiscent of the concept behind kintsukuroi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with golden lacquer to show that something is made more beautiful for having once been broken. The second is a statement of identity, and a visual metaphor of her relationship with Tyron. Though she initially accepted Tyron's bargain as a means of claiming revenge, Kaine is frequently at odds with Tyron, refusing to give in to his bloodthirsty coercion, and to forcefully insist that this body belongs to her. This attire is her defiance, that in spite of what she is, that Tyron cannot turn her into a monster, and that even having been dragged through hell and back, that she will always be beautiful. There's a second piece of Kaine's design that often goes overlooked, which are her weapons. To do a complete 180 on her broken flower image, she uses these crude-looking sawtooth cleavers to hack everything into shreds with wild abandon. There's a lot you can imply about a character based on their choice of weapon, whether or not they are a noble warrior, an unstoppable powerhouse, or a speedy duelist. Kaine's weapons do not look like the weapons of a hero. These are sinister-looking weapons, meant to rip and tear flesh in the most painful fashion. They look like they came right out of Pyramid Head's armory. And yet, these jagged weapons are reflective of Kaine's own jagged personality. They are relentless tools of murder. These weapons take on a whole new meaning when you discover the twist near the end of the game. The monstrous shades that Kaine and the heroes have been fighting all along are actually the souls of humans, separated from their bodies from the result of a failed experiment, and that the humans the heroes know of are clones called replicants, who were meant to be used as bodies for the shades. In Nier's New Game Plus, the player is shown scenes where shades speak with one another and exhibit human behaviors, like self-preservation, sadness, and fear. Tragically, none of the heroes can understand the shades' speech, except for Kaine. Even knowing that the shades are human, Kaine clings to her desire for revenge and turns her murder tools against them, which makes it all the harder to shut up Tyron's voice. Kaine's dual murder saws symbolize both Kaine's ferocity and bloodlust, her zeal for battle that makes her strong, but also a conscious killer. Now, I see some of you out there getting skeptical about me saying all those poetic things about what is still essentially a girl in battle lingerie. And I'm fine if you don't agree with what I say, because this is still an editorial. But for comparison's sake, let's take another scantily clad female character whose design is influenced by her plot. Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5. To get you all caught up, Quiet is an assassin sent to eliminate Big Boss. She has a parasitic skin transplant that allows her to turn invisible and to photosynthesize sunlight into nutrients. As a drawback, she must breathe through her skin, and wearing any more clothes will effectively suffocate her. You might think that Quiet and Kaine are similar in which their skimpy attire is derived from their plots, but the key difference is in what this clothing choice expresses about the character. Kaine's clothes express a sense of pride and ownership of her own body, which is broken, half-possessed, and half-gendered. Quiet's clothes are derived from her circumstances, but don't express anything about the character herself. She didn't choose to dress like that, she has to dress like that. And the game's prologue already establishes that she'd be wearing a normal uniform and still be a capable soldier if it weren't for her skin condition. It's the difference between a design that expresses and informs versus a design that needs to be justified. Take a look at this concept art for Kaine. I don't know the full story behind these, but it feels like Kaine was a very different character when she was first written. You couldn't simply slap the murder saws on these versions of Kaine and come out with the Kaine we have now, because their clothing defines them as different people altogether. On the other hand, every early concept of Quiet depicts her as a bikini sniper. Yoji Shinkawa himself admitted that she was designed specifically to be sexy and erotic as her core traits, so of course those become the only elements expressed through her design, and she needs a plot circumstance to justify it. This is the difference between design by expression of character versus design by plot contrivance, and that is why I feel Kaine succeeds where Quiet fails. From her clothing to her personality, and even her weapons of choice, everything about Kaine is an aggressive clash of contradictions. But where there is contrast, there is also duality. Female and male, elegance and aggression, beautiful and broken, the will to live and the drive to kill. Kaine expresses all of these things and more. Nothing is as it seems. And that's today's Design Shop. Thanks for listening to me talk about one of my favorite characters of all time. If there's a character or a series you want to see in Design Shop, let me know in the comments below and I'll see if I can make a case for it. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and to share these with your friends. I'm A.B.I, and I'm ready to f*** the shit